Hello everyone and welcome back to the Calham64 LP Retrospective, and in this episode we're going to be talking about my second ever blind LP project of Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo. Oh my goodness, okay, a lot of memories are honestly flooding back with this one, because in the previous episode when I talked about Metroid Fusion, I basically explained the fact that I don't really have an awful lot of memories for that one. Luckily, the next one I do, mainly because of two reasons. Probably one, because it was my second ever blind LP project, which is actually quite fitting considering, in the previous episode when I was talking about Metroid Fusion, in the 2012 version, that was literally my second LP project, ever on the channel. So, that's a bit of a weird coincidence right there. But, Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo. Okay, I remember as soon as I literally finished the previous LP, Metroid Fusion, because I went on holiday and stuff and had a bit of a break, it kinda got me out of an upload mood, if you will. It made me decide to not really upload for a while and stuff, because I don't know, I couldn't really think of the game to play, because honestly, after I finished Metroid Fusion, I wanted to just do a normal game. I didn't want to, do another blind LP project to begin with. I was just like, okay, I've done Fusion, what do I want to play next in my collection? And nothing really sparked my interest. Or actually, I do remember in October of that year, just to at least give out content, filler content if you will, I decided to just do 2 videos of one-offs on, what was it, Road Rash and Road Rash 2 for the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis, because I love those games, and I still love them to this day, even though I honestly do love Road Rash 2 a little bit more, to be precise. I remember just those added, filler content and stuff going on, but again, I couldn't be inspired. There was no game that just interested me. So I just thought in the end, maybe I should try something blind, because, that was the same thing, really, that happened with Mario vs. Donkey Kong. I got bored of Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and I just wanted to do something different, so I did Mega Man X blind for the Super Nintendo, So, I just thought, I don't know, I just had a bit of a think, really, and after a while, Donkey Kong Country. I don't know, I just felt like playing Donkey Kong Country for some reason. I remember hearing about it a lot in the past and that, and I just thought to myself, I really need to play Donkey Kong Country Run one day and stuff, but I just never got round to it. And given the fact, that I played Donkey Kong Land 3, I thought that I'd be quite familiar with how it usually all works. Given the fact that, the Donkey Kong Land games are pretty similar, sort of, to the country games. So that's kind of the reason why, I decided to do Donkey Kong Country. And so, in about November time, I think it was, the actual dates of the LPs, that I'm critiquing and that for each episode, from the start date when they were released and to when they were finished are in the description below if you're curious, just to show you, the duration of the LPs and how long they went on for. So when we get to Spyro 3, oh my god. This was also the first LP to be used on my new laptop at the time. You see, ever since 2012 up until, well, when Donkey Kong Country was released basically, I was using my Windows Vista laptop. And literally, as soon as Metroid Fusion finished, and I was using it in my spare time, it packed up. I don't know why. Just, for some reason, I think it was probably because I was using it for so many years. My Windows Vista laptop it didn't work anymore, and I couldn't really do anything about it. So in the end, I just invested in a new laptop going on, so I got a HP laptop instead. It wasn't really the fastest thing ever, but it was a lot faster compared to my Vista one. But even looking back at it now, compared to nowadays, when I have a PC, I can see that my HP laptop is kind of like a Vista compared to my PC now, It has that kind of thing going on. And Road Rash was actually recorded on the laptop first, just so I could get used to it really before starting the LP. But I just remember, playing Donkey Kong Country on my new laptop, and oh man, okay, things felt like well different in terms of editing and everything, because you gotta remember before, with Windows Vista, it's not really the fastest operating system around. In fact, it's pretty to be honest. So it meant that trying to emulate games and play them and that was a bit annoying, given the fact that, in Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, it limited me to use the latest plugin available. I had to use a really low-grade plugin and then end up missing a couple of things from the game, like the fact that, the numbers in Crash Bandicoot 3 and that were a little more darker, and there was a rectangle that appeared instead of causing that twirly effect when you teleported, so, I was quite limited. but to find that my laptop could handle all this was a lot better, and it especially made Donkey Kong Country a lot easier to do, given the fact that, you know, with faster laptop and stuff, I didn't really have to worry about the game freezing or anything, because that admittedly did happen, you know, a lot during Crash Bandicoot 3. There were times when sometimes when even like recording and stuff, you know, even just playing the game normally, when the game would just magically freeze. I'd just be like, why? Why is it doing that? But it's because I was using Windows Vista, and it's not really that good, you know? So of course, yeah, to put it short, I was recording DK on a new laptop, and it was fun. I remember it being really, really weird though on episode 1. Like, I think you can tell that when you look at episode 1 of the series, you can see that just from the tone of my voice and what I was saying, you could see that I wasn't really comfortable at first. But, you know, during like the episode and that going along, I eventually settled in, and I was like, yeah, because originally at first, due to how weird and stuff it was at the very beginning, I felt like I couldn't really do it. I felt like, you know, I couldn't really play through the entirety of Donkey Kong Country, because that was my ambition. It's an LP after all, isn't it? I got to finish it. But then just later on during the episode now, I adapted. I think it was just more a fact that, you know, I was used to playing Donkey Kong Land free for the Game Boy, and of course, even though that is similar to Donkey Kong Country, it is quite different, to be fair, in terms of the music, the graphics, you know, given the fact that the screen is a lot more zoomed in and stuff, so it felt like a whole new project, you know, playing Donkey Kong Country. I think I was more amazed, though, at how smooth Donkey Kong Country was running for the Super Nintendo. Because, I mean, I was just shocked at how it looked, you know, for like 1994 standards. You'll find that a lot throughout the LP, where I praise the game's graphics and that a lot, but that's the thing, because just I was impressed by it. I even am impressed by it for games and that nowadays, you know, where even though they were released at the time in, say, like 1993 or something, I will look back at that year and just think, wow, that must have like looked really good for the time, and just, you know, pushed the hardware of what the Super Nintendo or the current system was, you know, to its limits. I always look at it in that perspective instead of just looking back at me like, wow, these graphics suck nowadays compared to PS4 and stuff, you know. That's just the way I look at things personally. The thing that made it more comfortable though, when compared to, you know, doing Mega Man X to begin with, is the fact that even though Donkey Kong Country is regarded as, you know, a challenging game, it wasn't as challenging as Mega Man X. So of course, you know, it felt like a casual ride to me. Not completely casual, like I was literally just kicking back while playing Donkey Kong Country. No, I was concentrated, but just, I don't know, it was nice to actually not have to rush through the game and stuff, because that was the thing with Mega Man X, you know, I always had to be on the lookout for things that were trying to hit me in the level design, and all kinds of stuff, and enemy weaknesses when you get to the Mavericks, and finding out all that kind of stuff, you know. But Donkey Kong Country was just literally move to the left and to the right, you know, just hit some enemies along the way, and just mainly take your time. That's the thing. Oh, and when I was speaking of my new laptop earlier that I got, you know, when trying to make this LP, I remember making the outro, and that was an awful lot more easy, you know, compared to anything else, because you may notice when you look back at all the outros that I made before, Donkey Kong Country had a lot more going on, where mainly, you know, a highlight of the actual episode will appear on the sign while the background would scroll, and it said next, previous, and playlist. But that was the thing, you know, given the fact that my laptop didn't really lag as much when it came to it, you know, it meant that I could add a lot more things and not really have to worry about it crashing, so it allowed for more editing and stuff going on when trying to make the outros, and just, I remember that fondly. I do remember I wasn't really the best at this game, though, even though I chose it to do as like a blind LP project. There were times when I got a lot of game overs and stuff, but that was kind of just to show how I am as a gamer, because, you know, some people, or some YouTubers, shall I say, when they play old games, particularly Super Nintendo, they'll sometimes add a save state just to save them backtracking and stuff, so of course, when they get a game over, they'll just load the state back from where they were and then just try again. But I am a gamer that doesn't really play like that. You know, when I was playing through Mega Man X as well as Donkey Kong Country, it meant that if I died, I start again. I literally start again for the very beginning and try to do it again. Even when I got to the snow world in Donkey Kong Country, you know, when I got really far, and to find that the save point is ridiculously far into that bloody area. Seriously, I loathe that area sometimes. Just the fact that, you know, I died, I didn't really use a save state, even though I had to literally go through 2 or 3 levels all over again, I didn't care. Because, you know, I beat them once and I thought I can do it again. So then I just carried on. There's like even a section, you know, in episode 8, I think it was, or maybe episode 9, to be honest, I can't really remember. But there was a particular part where I literally died on this part where I got hit by a barrel for mistiming it, and, you know, I got a game over and had to start all over again. But I literally, you can see that I just sped up the whole entire footage just to show, you know, that I didn't really use any save states or anything. So I literally just, instead of whining and complaining, you know, the fact that I'm all the way back there, I was just like, ah, damn it, I gotta do it again. So I just sped it all up and got back to where I was, and then things just went swiftly from there. That's just, like I say, that's just how I am as a gamer. I learn from my mistakes, really, and then after a while, you'll find that even though, yes, you do have to start again, and it's really annoying, the fact that you can do the level again and better this time around shows that you've learned from your mistakes, you know. And you'll find that when you get to that area again, because of how many times you've had to literally redo it, it'll be at the back of your memory. So of course, when you visit the game, you know, later on in the future and stuff, you'll find that that area isn't as hard as it used to be. At least that's what I find anyway. Oh, also I remember something really annoying that happens during this LP. When I was using my Microsoft Live Chat headset, sometime during one of the episodes, it didn't work. Literally in the middle of recording, it just died. The wire must have like shorted out or something, or just came out inside of the circuits, but just, I don't know. I tried to repair it and stuff, you know, but just, I had no avail, and unfortunately I had to buy another one, and I just remember that being really annoying. But it was also good in a way, I suppose, because it shows the fact that, you know, really when you record, you need to have, certain things open to check for these things, because how it was, okay, I don't really have any footage of this sadly, but I'll try to explain it as far as memory recalls. I had the SNES, you know, open, playing Donkey Kong Country, and then to the left or to the right of it, because, you know, it was in the center of the screen, I would have Audacity opened up but cropped down, just so that I could see the wavelengths, you know, going by every time I spoke. And of course, during a certain part of the episode, I noticed these strange wavy lines going on, like it was static or something, and then just dead. Every time I spoke, you know, there was just no wavelengths happening, so I was like, oh god, something's not right, really. If I didn't have that open, guys, I would have continually, you know, just recorded the entire episode and realized, oh my god, the majority of the episode, you know, has all of my commentary missing, and that would be a problem. So that's just one tip of advice, I suppose, when you're going to be recording an LP. It's just, when you're going to be recording your commentary, make sure you have the window showing the wavelengths open, just in case if anything bad happens, because, you know, that's picking up the fact that your voice is picking up, you know, on the line. If it isn't, then you've got a problem. You need to pause it, or pause the game, or stop the recording and sort it out, which is what I did in the end. Or in this case, you know, stop the recording, save it, back it up, and then literally buy another headset because I found out that this one was broken. In fact, there was an actual episode, you know, that explained about my headset being broken and stuff, and it kind of resulted into a bad thing. In fact, I'm currently looking at it right now, and I'll let my own words, at least from the description, you know, of episode 5, explain it for you. So, here's what I said. Frame rate issue! I apologize for the difference in the frame rate with it lagging a bit, and also the audio later in the video. My old headset's mic broke, so I bought another one. And due to me tinkering around with my screen recorder's video settings, I forgot to restore the properties to default, resulting in loss of frames with a lot of action going on. This will unfortunately happen through most of episode 6 as well, as I also recorded that episode in the wrong settings. From episode 7 and onwards though, the problem will be resolved. I'm sorry about the issues. So yeah, that kinda happened, which was a little bit annoying really, and I don't really have to explain that because, you know, I just read the description, so you already know. Whenever I look back at it now, though, I always laugh at some of the subtitles that I did for the episodes. And in fact, you know what, just for a one-off type of thing going on for this retrospective, I'm literally going to go through every episode and read, you know, what each subtitle was from episode 1 all the way up until episode 15, the finale. So, let's go. Oh boy. The graphics! Was that the boss? This is madness! Necky's nuts, they're huge! Wow, I actually said that. Oh no! We can glide! Damn ice physics! Where's the save point? Croctopuses! What? 2 game overs? Evil green water. I can't finish my sentence. We're on a freaking roll! Foggy and dark. I did it! That felt like I was literally a video game character doing quotes. I just love that though, like how the fact that every single subtitle, you know, in the series, pretty much most of them, are in caps lock, some very over the top. It did sum up what happened though. That's one thing you really need to do, I'd recommend also for thumbnails and stuff going on, or at least episodes, you know. When you have like an episode, or at least next episode going on, you need to make sure that the thumbnail is nice, but it shows off what actually happens in the episode, you know, as well as a subtitle going on, you know, given the fact that one of them was, where's the save point? Given the fact that one called, where's the save point, you know, that one explains that the fact that I was in the snow world and the save point was ridiculously far, so it means that, oh yeah, this is episode 8, he must be in the snow world, you know. That's just something I find, but I just love how just over the top and exaggerative these are. And lastly, I suppose I'll talk about something which I honestly don't like in this LP project, if I'm going to be honest. And that's the extra video of the multiplayer that I showed off. Okay, so I realised, you know, that Donkey Kong Country actually supported multiplayer, and I wanted to show that off as like a bonus video going on, but I didn't do it very well. I mean, it was kind of just something that you're like, it's something that you say at the end and that's all. You don't necessarily have to show it off, but the way I did it was very weird in a way. Instead of just literally going like, this is multiplayer, you can swap the player, you die, you know, you can become the player, and that, in other words, if you die and stuff, the other player and that then takes turns, I think. I can't remember it fully and stuff. But just, I remember, the way I did it was some sort of like competition or game show, if you will, where, here's the stupid thing, okay? It was a competition and that, basically, where I would count the number of deaths that each player has when trying to get through the levels, and it was me versus Blazing Kitsune Ella, who nowadays is known as 8-Bit Elves, and she's been in my other LP projects, you know, that I've talked about in this retrospective series and the other episodes. The thing though that makes the competition kind of a bit unfair, to be honest, is the fact that me, you know, I recorded the whole LP and that I've seen like every single bit of the game and I know it well, but Blazing Kitsune Ella had never touched the game before in her life, so it was a bit obvious who would win from the very start, you know, given the fact that I was more familiar with it than she was. So that was kind of unfair in a way, but just, I don't know, I wanted to show off the multiplayer and just, I don't know, maybe it was just an excuse to record with Ella or something, to be honest. I don't really know, but I just remember looking at it now, I'm just like, why did I do that? Like, seriously, don't make it a competition and that if it's going to be an unfair competition. What I really should have done, if I wanted to do a competition that, is get somebody who's actually familiar with Donkey Kong Country, if not better than me, you know, at the time. You don't get somebody who's never played the game before and then be like, oh look, I won! How on earth did that happen, you know? Just, I don't know. I find that really annoying and pointless nowadays. I remember the setup being really weird though. We was literally recording it around her house and stuff in the evening. I don't know why. And, we was recording it in the front room, given the fact that there was more space and nobody was in the house, and, what we had is, we used, oddly enough, because even though I had a SNES adapter, it only worked with like one controller, so in the end we was literally using my USB adapter for PlayStation controllers. Yeah, we were playing Donkey Kong Country with PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 controllers. That felt really weird, but it worked nevertheless, and that, you know, because, what was it, she had her own headset and then I had my own, and the commentary on this one was, oh my god, a hell of a lot better compared to anything that we'd ever done before, you know, because with Crash Bandicoot 3 it was awful, it sounded like this. But even though we have to backtrack, we're going to come across a new thing. Guess what's in here?
Oh, I thought it was a chicken.
You thought it was a chicken? This is a dinosaur level, what do you think it would be? Like, apparently there are chickens in this sort of area.
Yeah, why wouldn't there?
I suppose, yeah.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? No one knows.
You already know that though, and in Metroid Fusion, and that it was slightly better, I suppose, considering the fact that, you know, I used the iPod Nano so it captured our voices a bit better. But this jump was just really clear and nice. Like, this is how it sounded, alright? Do you wanna swap?
Yes.
Swap? Yeah, swap. What? No. You have a go. No.
No, you have a go. Go on.
Yeah, there.
No. I'm giving you a chance here.
No, bitch, you do it.
Alright, I'm sorry.
And that was it. From that day I realised that whenever I do co-commentary, I need to make sure, you know, that the other mic from the guest and that joins me and that is clear as well. In this case, just use 2 headsets or 2 microphones and just sync them up at the exact same time, because that's what I did in Camtasia Studio. It was a lot of work at the time actually, but it was well worth it, because then it made, you know, for nice clear voices and stuff going on, and I just think it works well, really. Whew, but yeah, that's literally all I have to say about Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo for the Blind LP project, released in 2014. It was really fun doing it and that, given the fact that, you know, I never really played Donkey Kong Country to begin with, so I just literally play through the whole entire game and that with a Super Nintendo and just have a blast playing through it, seeing how great the graphics were for 1994 and the music and the gameplay, and just, it was a fun time, and just, you know, literally everything I've talked about in this whole retrospective into a summary, because I've talked about a hell of a lot of things in this one, I apologise, but just nostalgia overloaded me, what can I say? Yeah, I'm going to call this episode, this retrospective, off right here. So, join me next time where we're now going to be moving onwards to the year of 2015, where I'm going to be talking about my next LP that came after Donkey Kong Country, which was Earthworm Jim for the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis. So, see you then. To see the next episode of this retrospective series, go to here. To see the full playlist of this series going on, go to here. To see the original LP of the one I have critiqued, go to here, or even consider subscribing to the channel by going to here instead. Thank you for watching.